Hello, everybody. Let's talk about finishing up that index page and get it loaded up out into the SSH for your Phase 3 assignment. Just a couple of things. I just took that layout example that I sent you guys out earlier, and I made a few changes to it. I'd like to go over those real quickly before we talk about the SSH. I don't know if you remember, but the nav, it had some dots beside it. It's kind of ugly. We don't really like those dots beside it. So I went in and wrote some new code for the nav. I'll go over that in just a second so it kind of gives it some flair. I also put a figure out here, so an image. I linked that image to the images folder because all images need to be in their own folder. I gave it an alt tag, height, width, and I like to throw a fig caption around my or underneath my image. And I decorated it up just a little bit, and I'll show you that in a second. I also told y'all earlier that, I don't remember if you remember the last video, that we had a break in our main. It wasn't going all the way down to our footer. So guess what? I just put a little BR tag underneath that paragraph, and I think that fixed it up real nice. Part of your project is to also have an anchor tag that is a mail to tag, and you have to have your amarillocollege.com email. And so what I like to do is put my keboatman at amarillocollege.com email, but when you're showing the public, I just like to say email Karen Boatman, and they can click on my name. That way when the bots are crawling across your pages, they're not actually snatching up that email address so they can spam you later. Don't forget your style sheet has to be in its own folder / style. We'll link it to that style sheet. So let's go ahead and look at that CSS. So here's where you make everything pretty. If you remember correctly, I had the body, I had the wrapper, I had a nav written already, um, and I needed to pretty it up just a little bit more. So I wanted to, on my nav A, I wanted to take out that text decoration, those dots. You just tell it to text decoration none. If you want to, you could actually, I guess, put you a link for a photo out here if you wanted, but I like to just leave mine clean and simple. I also put out a pseudo class of link, visited, and hover. So when they actually link to the actual page, it has a specific color. When it's been visited, it'll have a different color. And when you hover over it, and I'll show you that in just a minute. The list style type, um, uh, I put a none on it as well, gave it some padding top and left, and I gave it a little text align. I also gave the nav LI a little top padding. That's how much padding is in between the words. And I think that's about it as far as the nav. Now, on the, let's see, what else did I change? On the footer, I did change it. I didn't like that you couldn't see anything in it. And so I told the text in the footer, the color to be white. So white on that blue looks a little bit better. You can see it. Also made it small and italic and told it to center and not left aligned like everything naturally does in HTML. I also wrote some code for the figure. So I gave it a width, I gave it a border, put a little solid black border around it with a little padding around the border, and then the fig caption, hey, I told it to center that text and either make it Papyrus or Fantasy in the font family. So now that this is all done, let's go up here and save everything, and here's what my page looks like. So, let me refresh that. That is holding on to, it's holding on to in my footer. I didn't like that, and I gave it a little bit of a white text. Um, Here's your nav, here's your pseudo class, here's how that works. So my home tab is visited, it's totally different color, but when I hover over the different menus, here's what it does. And then once you've been on one, you can see the color there. Hey, here's that picture I was talking about. It's got a nice little border around it. That's kind of cool. Now, one of the things that I will note is that we call this white space out here. This is actually really bad for a page. So if I were you, if you had a little white space in here, either balance it out with some pictures or move this text up here in this white space so you don't get dinged for that. Here's where I fixed with that little BR tag. Here's where I extended my main down to my footer. And I want to fix one more thing before we load this up to the SSH. I don't like that I can't see my email, Karen Boatman. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back out into my notepad, and we're going to write just a little anchor tag code here that's going to make that white. And the only thing I'm doing is telling it to color, and let's call it white, and be done with that. Now, the difference between this A and this A, or any of these A's, this A is a nav A. This A, the coding will be applied to any other anchor tag other than the nav. So there's the difference. Let's take a look and see how that works. I'm going to hit the save, go back here to my page, and let's do a little refresh on there. Now you can see that anchor tag. Okay, so we've got our page all fixed up. We like it. It's pretty. Let's go and throw it out into the SSH. So your SSH, it's down here at the bottom, where mine is in the taskbar. It's got those blue dots on that yellow folder. I'm going to click on it and open it up. Whoops, sorry guys, I have some files out here already, but hey, this is a good time. Let me show you how to correct anything that you might have out here. So I'm going to do a quick connect real quick, and the host name is going to be cis.actx.edu. Your username is a little bit different than mine. You were given that information in how to connect to the SSH. The port number is going to be 22, and I'm going to leave this profile setting alone. Connect to it. When you do, it's going to prompt you for your password, and hit OK. Put your password in. The profiles, we're going to leave that alone. Okay, and so here's my public. I'm sorry, I have that a little bit messed up. So here's my public. Well, it was canceled. Okay, so here's my public. Inside my public, I have some things I was playing with. If you've got some stuff out here you were playing with and you need to get rid of it, just simply click on one, hit cancel or exit out, delete it, and say OK. And if you try to delete this one out, it says, are you sure? And you click OK. Well, it can't delete it because it has to be empty before you delete it. So you'll have to go into each one of these folders and delete what's ever in that folder. Go up a level, hit style sheet. Now it should be empty. Delete it. Images, let's get rid of that one. And say OK. Go back up a level and delete that one. Say OK. Now I should just have public. On this side, the left hand side, this is everything that you've got on your computer. I very rarely mess with this site. I kind of cheat and do this a different way. So let me show you how I cheat just a little bit on getting these things out to the SSH. I will open up public because this is where all your files will go. So let's go ahead and open up public, and I'm going to open up where I put my file. So I called mine semester project, but I don't want to drag semester project over there. I want to open up semester project. Here's my index. Here's that style sheet. Remember, it has my style in that style sheet. Here's my images, because all images or videos have to go in some sort of separate folder. So these are the things that you should be loading up first. So I'm just going to select all of these, and I'm going to drag them over and drop them into that remote, and we should be good. So when you go up a level, you still see public. When you open up public, guess what? You see your pages. Now, let's go test this out. So I'm going to bring over Chrome, because I've got it open in Firefox. So let's put it in Chrome. So to test this, I'm going to type in cis.actx.edu/tilde. The tilde is that very top button on the left-hand corner. When you hit shift and that'll be your tilde, and then just put in your username. That's all you have to do. If you named your index.html correctly, which is lowercase i.html, when you put this in and hit enter, it should pull up your page. So here's my page. It looks great. This is live, by the way. Everybody can see it. If you have any questions about anything that I've discussed in the video, hey, let me know. I'll share this code with you via email if you would like. That way, when the folder closes, you still have it if you want to take a look at it. And let me know if you have any problems.